Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. This one's going to be regarding SimCity and the buildings along with the add-ons that you can put with each building. I went ahead and quickly just made up a little rinky-dink town, just kind of get things started out. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to put down a building and I'm going to show you exactly as best as I can um, the building, what it does, and the additions that go with it. Um, we've been playing since release, so I've got most of them down. If I make a mistake, feel free to just leave something in the comments, and I'll try to correct it or correct myself on it. This is just from basically playing it, kind of seeing what does what. The best way I can put it. When I started playing, I went ahead and just kind of threw things down, put this here, that there, hoping that it would work. And there is some technique, I guess, if you want to put it, to where you put different buildings, what their proper uses are and whatnot. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and get this started out for you. Some of it might be very basic, and you might be wondering why am I explaining it. It's just because I want to cover it all for people. It's going to basically pertain to these bottom buttons in your menu, kind of what they are, what they do, how they function. So I'll go ahead and start out with the roads. Pretty self-explanatory, but you've got your low density dirt road, your low density streets, your medium density, high density. Then you've got your avenues, medium. There is no low density avenue. It goes right to medium. You got your high density avenue, and then you've got the high density with streetcars, and that's part of your transportation. So basically your dirt roads are your cheapest. You can use them for, let's say you've got a power plant or something. You're not going to have a lot of people traveling to it. You can string it all the way to the edge of your map or wherever you decide to plant it down, and you can kind of put your power plant at the end of it. It's cheaper if it's not going to be a road that's quote unquote traveled. That it's the best way to do it. You can still add on other roads to it. You got a dirt road, let's say you want to lay a high density, you just boom, there you go. You got your high density, or you can do the medium, the low. You can connect any road to any road, if that makes sense. Now let's say you start out, you drop your dirt roads, you're starting to notice traffic. You can also use these dirt roads just to start your city. You've only got so much money to really start with, so it's best to start with them for your side roads. And then once you start having a good income coming in from the city rolling or whatever means you have, you can upgrade these. Easiest way to upgrade these roads is down here is the button, road upgrade tool. You click it, you click the road you want, and it'll give you the option. You can upgrade it to a low density and then so forth. You can keep going all the way up until you hit the highest mark, and in this case it'd be a high density street because this is simply a street. If you decide you want to bring it back down, it's as simple as clicking low density dirt road. It downgrades the road, and the downgrades don't actually cost anything. Upgrades do, and it will always show you here. Simple as that. It doesn't destroy the buildings. It doesn't hurt anything. It just adjusts the density of the street. And what the density does is for zoning, which I'll get into in the next thing here. But that controls your density, your residential, commercial, industrial density, and I'll get into that. The avenues are the same way. When you want to upgrade them, high density avenue, you can upgrade the avenues all the way to the streetcar, or you can lower them back down to medium. Medium is the lowest you will get. In a nutshell, that's all there is to it. You do have some, when you're going to lay a road down, you have some other little functions here. Your first one is straight road. Again, it makes your straight road. You've got the square roads where, I'll just pick one here, and it'll make the road squared out for you. As simple as that. If you want kind of an arced road, pick the road, make it arc, and it'll give you kind of that arcing, and you can kind of connect your roads up from there if you so choose. You've got the curvy roads, which is more like a freehand road. You can kind of just make it go as you wish, well, to a point. And then of course you have your circle roads, which you start out at any point, and it just makes the road a big circle for you. You know, oval, circle, egg shaped, however you choose to do it. Go back to straight. If you don't want, if you look here, you see these little dotted lines. They're guides. They say that that's the optimal way to lay out your road if you want to max out your density, keep good traffic. It's a crap shot. You can use it to get you started, but how well it works is a totally different story, because the way traffic and everything is currently working, you just don't know. You can remove them guides by simply clicking the guides button, and it won't show them anymore. It does help for when you're just first starting out. It's a good tool to have to kind of give you an idea how to lay out the streets. Once you get a little bit better, a little further into the game, you may or you may not use them. It's kind of a preference thing. I still use them at times. They're nice. They kind of help gauge the distance between roads, because when buildings grow in density, you have to make sure that there's enough space between the two roads, or your buildings won't grow correctly. They'll constantly stay a smaller size. You won't get the bigger apartments or the large skyscrapers, because there simply won't be enough road in between the two roads for the density values to go up. And if you ever make a mistake on a road, it's as simple as clicking the bulldoze over here, and you can bulldoze more than one at a time by simply dragging around. You can also click what you want to bulldoze and hold the control key, and it will light up. It's supposed to. Will light up the whole area that you want to bulldoze down. And you can just reshape your roads the way you want to go from there. So if you may notice, I'm not clicking anything. All you have to do to get it to change back to just your normal icon, just right click your mouse, and it'll close up everything. So it doesn't, you don't have to keep clicking it and then unclicking and then clicking and unclicking, and more annoyance to the game, which we all know there isn't enough of as is. So alright, so I think that basically covers the roads pretty good. I'm going to go into zones. Pretty self-explanatory. You've got your residential, your commercial, your industrial, and then you've got the D zone button. It's kind of like the old style game, in the sense of you just click it and you go ahead and you drag it out wherever you want to drag it out, and you're good to go. You can, well, I guess it's not working for me, but you're supposed to be able to just simply hold the control key, and it will fill the whole line up for you. It might be because I'm recording and my recording software isn't letting me do it. I couldn't tell you. So, but in most cases that's how it works. You just hold the hotkey button down and it'll fill the whole zone up for you. And this goes for residential and industrial as well. The D zone, just as it says, you click it and you can drag it all the way across and it will D-zone whatever you put, so it won't allow buildings to grow in there. If you already have buildings starting in there or have already grown to capacity, you'll have to D-zone and then bulldoze them afterwards, and then they won't grow back. D-zoning also, I have not personally tried this, but I've heard that when you go, if you zone out an area, residential, commercial, and it starts to grow in density, if you want it to stop growing in density, let's say you've got this road right here, like I said earlier, let's say it's a high density road for you, you've got residential sitting there, and you want it to stop at, per se, a medium density, and you don't want it to grow into high density. If you go ahead and D-zone that, it should stop the 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 density from going up to a high density, if that makes any sense to you. I like to jabber, so but that's just from what I've heard and read. I'm not sure. I have not actually tried it myself, so don't hold me to it. Um, Now, as I was saying about the roads and density wise, right now if I zone that out, this is only going to grow to a low density. It could be high wealth, medium wealth. That's a separate issue. Um, that's dealt with the land values. But in order to keep this, or let's say I want to grow it into a allow it to grow into low wealth, medium density, I would simply go in and upgrade it to medium density street. What this will do is it will allow this residential to only go up to a medium density. Again, wealth is a different story in this one. So you got one button for residential, one for commercial, one for industrial. Um, but again, it will stop you. It'll stop it at a medium density. It won't allow it to grow into the high density. So I think that basically kind of covers that pretty well. Again, just the zone, and you're good to go. You can also, might as well throw up, if you click, don't even have to click it, just hover your mouse over the little eye icon. Um, it will kind of give you a rundown of what each button, if you want to say, does. I'm not sure if all of them show it or if it's just them. Yeah, it must just be the zoning tools. So it'll give you a little information about it. So, all right, and on to the power. Each city needs power. Excuse me, I got to open the soda here. I got some cotton chops hitting me. Each city needs to have power, and what that power does is, of course, it powers all your buildings. If you don't have power, your water pumps won't work, your fire trucks won't go out. God knows fire trucks going out too many might be a good thing. But you have to have them. What you do is you just click each of them. The one you want, excluding the Nissan Leaf, which is the recent DLC, does absolutely nothing. It's just doesn't take any power from the city. It's just kind of like a little attraction thing. Advertising, of course. But what you got is you got your power plant. You got to place it on a road. Depending on what kind of plant you're using, you want to pay attention to the wind direction, because if you're like here, if you notice, all my wind is blowing this way. It's all going down that way. So anything I put down here that may have pollution is going to blow down here, and it's going to give air pollution down here if per se I'm using the oil plant or the coal. So you want to be mindful of where you place it out. A coal plant, oil plant, like in this city, best place would be is over in this area, because it's all going to blow outside the city and it's not going to blow into your residence or your commercial or industrial. Granted, industrial don't really care too much, but you kind of get the general gist of it. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the wind, and what you do, you plop it down. It adds jobs to the zone or to the city, and if you want to add on to it, what you do is you simply click it, and this little icon, the edit button, pops up, and you can see that you've got it laid out here. You have a basic service road, which allows you to make it longer, and you can then add on to the add-ons to the building. You can make it go further down. It does take space, does cost more money. You do have a little bit bigger ones. They do allow you to bring or generate more power, the bigger ones, but again, they cost you more, and the hourly rate does go up. The last one, the vertical turbine, you have to, as you can see, you have to have a university, you have to have the addition and the research project done for it to allow you to be able to place that down. You got a power sign. It really doesn't do anything. It's just for cosmetic. So, but that's the wind power plant. All the other ones are in essence the same thing. They all function the same way, with just different values to them. I guess I'll throw down like the nuke plant here. This one, the nuclear power plant, you need to have residents that are educated in it. What will happen if they aren't educated, you'll simply have a meltdown and you'll get a lot of radiation and a lot of pissed off Sims. So you want to make sure they're educated in the city, at least at the moment. The game is supposed to work regionally, but because it doesn't, you got to make sure the Sims that are in the current city are educated by putting at least a college down, if not a university. University is the best. College will suffice to keep up the power plant. And again, power plant, just like the rest of them, same thing. You simply pick what you want and you can lay it down in the blue areas where it says that you can. This power plant doesn't use any pollution, just like the wind plant and the solar power. They all have their pros, they all have their cons. The wind, of course, you have to have plenty of wind in the area. The solar plant, power plant, only basically gets power through the daytime hours, and then at night it runs on a quote-unquote battery source. But you can run it, basically charges up the batteries and uses that during the night. Again, these three are the environmental friendly. You can place them almost anywhere. They're not going to affect your Sims in the sense of air pollution. Sims don't want to live next to them per se, but it won't give you pollution. And then you got the DLC. This is simply just a little add-on advertisement that you place down, and you'll see the little electric cars running through the city, and it's a charging station. That's about all. It adds a little bit of happiness to your Sims, but nothing other than that functionality-wise. So, all right, that's the power plant. You can over here. You can click the buttons to get a better idea of what's actually being powered. You see on the street, the yellow is showing you your power line. Power plants, sewage, water is all done through cities. You don't put in, like the old school, you don't lay down water pipes and you don't lay down highline wires. It's all done by road connections. That's why they have to be connected to a road in order to function. Your wind map, it'll show where your wind's blowing, your air pollution, and each area basically has these little extra buttons here, so you can they're data maps. You can check them out and it will show you different things regarding the game. So make sure you're paying attention to them. I'll probably go into detail on them in another video, but this one not so much. So alright, and now we're going to go into the water. Water's pretty simple. You have two different water buildings. You've got your basic water tower, and then you have your pumping station. You have a water table, and you can see here you got the blue, you got the white, you got the dark blue. The dark blues are the areas that have the most water in them. You want to try to place your water tower, water pumping station in these areas, because that's where it's going to give you the most amount of water before it replenishes. Your water table is supposed to replenish by rain, naturally, sitting next to a lake or a river going through. There's also another trick with the sewage, which is basically you set your sewage plant, your treatment plant, next to your water supply, and it will clean the water, clean the sewage, put it back in the ground, and replenish the water table for you. But we'll get into that some other time. But as you move it around, you can kind of see the numbers showing how many gallons it's able to pull out. The less blue, the less water it's going to pull out. So you got to kind of pay attention when you're laying your roads down and when you're designing your city where your water is actually at, so you can kind of get the most amount of water. These are pretty inexpensive. They don't cost a lot, but they also don't pump a whole lot of water either. You then have your water pumping station, which you lay down and it will pump water that's in the ground as long as you have an area in the water table. Again, you have an edit button, and you have two different types of pumps here. You have a basic pump, which just pumps the water out of the ground, and then you have a filtered pump. Basically what this is for is if you've got ground pollution, and you've got water there, but you've got ground pollution, you want to use the filtration pump. Otherwise, what it's going to do with the basic pump is it'll pump that water up into your city, and all your Sims will start getting sick. So the filtration pump is what allows it to clean the water before it's sending it to you. And you can use the sewage. The sewage trick I said earlier, you can use that with the filter pump, but it's cheaper just to lay a proper sewage treatment center down, and then you can use your basic pumps, and it'll keep your water clean. So, and you can get, I believe, 7. I will count. Yep, 8, 6, sorry. Squinty eyes. You can lay a total of 6 of these combined. You can lay 3 of these and then 3 of the basics, or 4 of the basics and 2 of the filter. Any combination you want to use, you can use, but you can only lay a max of 6 down. So that basically covers the water. And again, over here you've got your data map icons. Pay attention to them. You've got your ground pollution, you've got the water table, the germ map, the health map, to kind of show you. And it will also show you when you hover over it and you click it, it'll show you water pollution level, clean. Or if it's getting dirty, it'll show you dirty, to let you know if your water's clean or not. So, and next we'll go into the sewage. You have, again, two different sewage systems. You've got a sewage outflow pipe, and then you've got your treatment plant. The outflow pipe is small. What it does is it just basically pulls your sewage to it and then dumps it on the ground. Causes lots of ground pollution, and eventually you don't want to use it when you've got enough money to upgrade to the plant itself. It will suffice for starting. It won't collect a lot of ground pollution at first until you start getting a lot of Sims in your city, or a lot of commercial or industrial. And once you start getting to a point, you'll notice your ground in the area will start turning brown. That's when you know it's getting dirty. The only way to really take care of that is time, shutting off that pump, and planting trees. And it will slowly start to dissipate. That is where the treatment plant comes in. The trick to this is as you can see here, you put them side across from each other. You plop it down, and now what happens is all the sewage comes in, gets treated, and clean water gets shoved into the water table right below here. And so then your water pump will suck it back up and ship the water back out to the people in the city. Fairly straightforward. About the only trick right now that you can use to replenish water. Otherwise you will run out of water, and your city will either be forced to buy water from another city, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't because of the regional issues, or your city will just be foobarred and you won't be able to play it at all. So you have an edit button again here. You can lay additional tanks, and as they fill you can lay down more, and again you're limited to 7 of them. It will always show you over here for your water, sewage, electric, how much extra you actually have going on, how much you're making. It'll show your exporting amount. I mean, all the little details are there for you to kind of look at. Down here you can see how much is available in the whole region. I was debating on going on to the regional aspect of it, but I'll wait on that until another time. But yes, you lay this down, you lay your water pump next to it, and it cleans your sewage and allows your water pump to pump water back into the city by replenishing. So that basically covers the sewage. You then have your government. There are 3 different buildings. The first one, which is your town hall, you'll basically get right off the bat. There's a little quest that you want to do. I think you make a road, put electricity and water in your town, and you can get it. Your town hall then upgrades based on your population. the first upgrade, level 1, to the next one is 5,000 residents. So you have to have 5,000 residents actually in your population down here. And then you get to upgrade it. There'll be a little button, click upgrade. And this will actually, once you hit that upgrade mark, you'll get another edit here, edit button. And you can add on things such as your main sewage plants like this, your big police departments, your bigger hospital, the airports, the bigger brain fart from hell. Here we go. Bigger city parks. And you can add on to all that. I may go ahead and kind of splice that in here, just so you can kind of see what I'm actually referring to. Because I've got one in another city, but I don't want to jump over to it and chance my city getting a rollback once again, since that's what I got before I started this video. And so I had to redo everything. So, but I'll go ahead and splice that in right about here. Alright, so here's the information about the City Hall. Basically, like I said, as you get different levels of population, you can do different upgrades. So how this works is you'll be notified. You come over, you can click it, or you can click down here, and you'll have an upgrade button here. You can click, protesting too much crime, go figure. Once you have a City Hall going, and you have some of the additional add-ons to it, you'll kind of have some information that shows you your tax information here, your tax rates for the different residential, commercial, industrial, and the rate for low, medium, and high wealth. It gives you that idea. And then you can go to edit, and what you have here is you've got your other little ploppables. And you're allowed, each upgrade you get, you're allowed to throw one of these down. And these are all shared region-wide. So as you notice in this city, I've got access to everything, but in this city I've only got one additional thing, because in my other cities I've actually got these down on my other buildings. So you don't need them in each city. You don't have to have like Department of Utilities in each and every city. As long as it's in one city in the region, it's shared through the whole region. It can be delayed sometimes, where you'll put it down and you'll go to your other city and it's not there, or you don't have access to the new utilities. Just give it a little time, it usually does catch up. But basically when you get it, you can come in and you just click the one you want, and the side ones stack like this, or you can set them down like this or like this, whatever your little heart desires. And it then just adds on to, let's say the Department of Safety. That gives you access to the big fire, health, and police buildings. The utilities, which is your water treatment and recycling buildings, your sewage, etc. And each one has little things. The only one that isn't really beneficial to anything is, of course, your City Hall sign, which is cosmetic, and you've got your Simcopter 1, so your mayor can fly around on a helicopter from his house to his workplace. Kind of snazzy, but it's cool. So again, once you have at least one of these down in the region, you do not have to put it in another city in the same region, so it will function region wide. So that's basically how the city hall, the town hall, whatever you want to call it, is set up. Also, you can hover over and it'll show you little things like mine. It says people are protesting too much crime. It gives me an idea that I need to do something with my police department. I can click on it. My advisor might not say anything, so I have to kind of go into details and start checking. That might mean just simply adding another patrol car, or adding more jails. Kind of you got to kind of look around just to see what it is that they're actually, why they're complaining. And commercial will kind of do that a little bit more than is wanted. So I wanted to go ahead and do the mayor's house here too, because I forgot to add that in. But the mayor's house here, This one is a simple building you just put down, and it increases medium wealth, the land value. It's just a building. There's no add-ons to it. At least I don't believe there is. Uh, Could be. Um, I think that there's simply, if there is, it's just like a flag post and probably a sign. The one that you really want to work towards is the mayor's mansion. You have to get like your popularity up. You got to make sure everybody's happy, and then you get access to it. And what this does is, like it says, it raises high wealth land value. So you'll start getting like these big skyscrapers of high wealth areas um, growing around it. And then after you get that, you are able to no education, of course, no schools. um, you can click on it and it will show you your progress. It tells you like 0 of 24 hours with 85% approval rating. Your approval rating, you can look down here at the little smiley face and it shows you, like right now I'm at 77%. And you can kind of go through each of these little spots to see what is actually um, making your approval rating either go up or go down, and you can adjust from there. After you get each and every upgrade, because there's a lot of upgrades for this one, this is kind of just all cosmetic besides the land value part, but it's kind of neat to have. It's just a little micro game kind of thing. You can go into edit and you get to add all these little extras to it. Each upgrade you get to add, and they're done in chunks. Like the first 4 is for uh, like 80% approval, and then after you get all these 4 down, then these open up, and then these will open up, and then these will open up, and eventually, as long as your approval rating is good, you'll end up being able to drop all of them down. An example is this bird up here. I put the statue up there. I've already put the fountain there, and it works the same way that the other buildings work as well. You simply click it, and you're able to plop it down in the spot kind of designated. And it just adds on. It makes people in the area a little more happy and so forth. So that's basically how the mayor's mansion works. Like I said, the mayor's house, I don't believe I actually have that one up, so not in this city anyways, but that's just for medium wealth. It just kind of makes people a little happier. So alright, back onto the video. Alright, so the next one is your waste management. It's your garbage and your recycling bin. Um, the recycling, there's a 2-part process to it. You collect the recyclables, you process them, and then you sell some. So you'll kind of want to watch that. That'll be on another part, but in essence, you go down the city specialization, you go to the trading, and you put in a trade depot, and it will take the items to your trade depot, and you can sell them. That'll be in another video. I'll kind of explain a little more on that. But as for your garbage dump, it's pretty simple. You click it, flop it down, and it will start collecting garbage. You'll have little trucks that will go out and they'll collect the garbage from your city or the region, depending on how you have it set up, and they'll collect it and bring it back. So what you have here is you've got your basic road, your service road, which extends to allow you to drop more dump zones. You start with one, which holds 70 tons of garbage. And it might seem like a lot, but when your city starts to get big or you're starting to grab garbage from the other cities, it fills up quick. So you have 2 choices. You can either lay down another dump zone. As you can see, I had to put the service road down here, and you can lay it on the blue dotted lines. Your first one you can kind of get away without having to drop a service road, but if you're using this as your main garbage, you're going to end up filling it. Your second option is an incinerator. It creates pollution, but burns the garbage that is in the landfill. So the landfill won't fill so quickly, and it can 90% of the time offset the garbage you're bringing in. Whatever goes into the landfill basically gets incinerated. Once again, you have to watch out for pollution, because when it's burning, As you can see there, there's a little wind icon. It'll show you where that air pollution is being blown down to. So again, you want to set it in an area that's not upwind from your commercial, residential type areas, because they will complain. They will not be happy about that. You have trucks. You can have a total of 16, I believe it is. Yes, because you get 8, and each garage holds 2 trucks. So you can lay them down right around your garbage dump area. Make sure to leave space in case you're going to add in another dump zone or another incinerator, because that does take up space, and sometimes you won't actually be able to drop down another truck in the area, just like surrounding buildings. So make sure when you're doing that you're kind of keeping an eye out as to where you're placing them. And then you over on the right here, you can see how much garbage you have total in the city and how much your trucks are actually picking up daily. It will start out saying full, but when you get it going, it usually starts to simmer down. And you can watch it, and if you start getting too much garbage and they're not actually picking it up, this top number, instead of being green, will be red. That means it's time to add more trucks. Or if the reason is because your dump's full, it's time to add another dump or possibly another incinerator, depending on what you prefer to do, your setup and whatnot. So that's basically the garbage dump. You then have your recycling center. Your recycling center is rather expensive, and at the moment it does have a bug. If you are putting it down and you're trying to collect recyclables from another city, it will bug out at times. Not always, but it does bug out. What I mean by that is after you've put it down, you get a material storage. It can only hold so much material at a time, then it gets processed and recycled. What will happen is the storage will fill up completely and it will not go down. You can shut it off, you can destroy it, you can build another one, and it will still happen. So some people have had luck with just simply destroying it and putting down another one and not volunteering trucks to other cities, and that's fixed it. Myself, I had the issue and I tried it and it didn't work for me. So I've pretty much come down and started putting a recycling center in each of my cities, just kind of in the far corner, just to prevent the issues. So the edit button, you've got your collection trucks. These guys go out and collect the recyclables. You've got your delivery trucks, and what these guys do is it delivers the goods, the metals, the plastics, to your trade depot, and in turn you can sell it. Then you've got the 3 lines that you can add on. You start out with the plastics line, and so you'll automatically be able to process plastic. But to make the most money, you want to drop your additional ones as well. And what it'll do is you'll get a total of 3 of these product storage lines, and they will fill as you collect more recyclables and they're processed. Again, you're maxed out at 16 of the garbage trucks and 4 of the delivery trucks, because it's only 1 delivery truck per garage. It's 2 collection trucks per garage for the collection. So and then again over here at the bottom number will show your recycling, and you can kind of play with it to get a feel for what you actually need, because you will have to increase that with time. So I think that basically covers that part. Go ahead and destroy it. Yes, this is a lot of money, but I actually have an Electronics City connector right next to me that just dropped me 20 million over here, so I'm not hurting too bad for cash. So alright, I think I might go ahead and cut it off here, and I'll continue in the next video. Part 2 of this, go ahead and click the link on the top, or I'll have this in the playlist. You can just click the next button in the playlist, so just so it doesn't get too long. So if you enjoyed this video, you got any comments, questions, critiques, if I put any incorrect information, please let me know in the comments below. Be sure to sub, like, all that good junk. So kind of helps me out. So alright, thanks. On to the next.